I stood outside my mom's house, staring at the door that used to lead to my home. My hands shook as I clutched the newspaper with my picture on the front page. The words, "Young Science Prodigy Wins Regional Competition," jumped out in bold letters. "You can do this," I whispered to myself, taking a deep breath. 3 weeks ago, I never imagined I'd be standing here feeling like a stranger. 3 weeks ago, my life fell apart. "I can't believe you're doing this, Mom," I had shouted, my voice cracking as tears blurred my vision. "You can't kick me out just because I want to study science instead of business." Mom's face had hardened like stone. "Believe it, Lena. You need to learn that life isn't a game. Get out if you think you can do better on your own." "But I just want to be myself. Why can't you see that?" I pleaded, my heart feeling like it might explode. "Come back when you're somebody," she said coldly, tossing some cash in my direction. $300. That was supposed to be enough for, what? Starting a new life at 16. I'd watched her walk away, back stiff as a board, not even looking to see if I was okay. Now here I was, knocking on the same door, newspaper in hand. My stomach twisted into knots as I waited, counting my heartbeats. The door swung open, and there stood Mom. Her eyes widened in shock. "Lena." "Hey, Mom," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. "What are you doing here?" She glanced at the newspaper in my hands, confusion crossing her face. "I came to show you this," I said, holding it out. "It has my picture. They called me a young science prodigy." She took the paper, eyes scanning the headline. Something flashed across her face, surprise, pride, regret, I couldn't tell. "I came back now that I'm somebody," I said, my voice steadier than before. "But I realized something important. I always was somebody, just not the person you wanted me to be." The day she kicked me out replayed in my mind like a bad movie. I'd stumbled onto the sidewalk, backpack over one shoulder, not knowing where to go or what to do. The cool evening air hit my face like a slap, and the world suddenly felt way too big. I'd pulled out my phone with trembling fingers and called Dad in Canada. "Hey, sweetie, how are you?" His warm voice made my tears fall faster. "Dad, I need help," I managed to say without completely breaking down. "What do you mean?" "It's Mom, she kicked me out." My voice cracked like thin ice. "Oh no, honey, I'm so sorry. What happened?" He sounded worried sick. I took a shaky breath. "We fought. She just doesn't care about me or what I want. She says I need to be somebody but won't let me choose who that is." "That's not true," Dad insisted. "Your mom loves you. She's just under a lot of pressure herself." "Pressure? She doesn't get that I have my own dreams." I wiped my cheeks, but the tears kept coming. "I wish I could help. I really do," he said, guilt heavy in his voice. "But I'm stuck here in Canada. I can't just come down right now. I'll send you some money as soon as I can." "It's okay, Dad. Just promise you'll help somehow." "I promise, Lena. Stay safe and hang in there. We'll figure something out." After hanging up, I'd stood there on the sidewalk, completely lost. A lady walked by, giving me a concerned look. I turned away, embarrassed for anyone to see me like this. With nowhere else to go, I'd wandered to the 24-hour diner a few blocks away. The smell of coffee greeted me as I stepped inside, seeking warmth and safety. "Hey there," the waitress had smiled. "What can I get you?" Just some coffee, please." My voice was barely a whisper. "Sure thing, hun. Sit wherever you like." I'd slid into a booth and wrapped my hands around the warm cup, trying to stop them from shaking. The waitress came back. "You okay, sweetie?" "Just need some time," I said, glancing up. Her kind eyes reminded me of Mrs. Harper, my science teacher, making me tear up again. "Take all the time you need. You're safe here," she said softly before walking away. Safe? I didn't feel safe at all. I felt terrified. By morning, I knew I needed help. With nowhere else to turn, I'd knocked on Noah's door before the sun was fully up. My eyes were puffy from crying all night. "Lena," Noah opened the door, his blonde curls messy from sleep. His blue eyes went wide. "What happened?" "I need your help," I said, my voice barely holding together. "Come in," He moved aside quickly. As I stepped into his house, the warmth hit me, but the cold feeling inside wouldn't go away. His parents were in the kitchen. Noah looked at them nervously. Mom, Dad, can we talk?" "Sure, honey," his mom said, looking at me with worry. "Are you all right, Lena?" I had a fight with my mom. I need a place to stay," I said, staring at the floor, my heart racing. Noah's dad frowned. "How long?" "Just for a bit," Noah jumped in. "She can stay in the guest room." "Are you sure, Noah? We don't know the whole story," his mom said carefully. "I know her, she's my best friend," he insisted. "Please just help her out, I promise it'll be fine." After what felt like forever, they nodded. "All right, Lena, just until things settle," his dad said. "Thank you," I whispered, nearly crying with relief. Once we reached the guest room, I collapsed onto the bed. Noah sat beside me, his face serious. "What happened?" I wiped my cheeks. "Mom kicked me out, Noah. She said to come back when I'm somebody." "That's awful," he said, anger flashing in his eyes. "What does she even mean by that?" "She doesn't care about what I want. It's like I'm always disappointing her by being myself. I just want to study science and do what I love." Noah looked me straight in the eyes. "Lena, you already are somebody. You're the smartest person I know." I shook my head, not believing him. "You don't understand. She thinks science is just a silly hobby. I feel like I can't do anything right in her eyes." "Listen," he said firmly. "I've always looked up to you. You're amazing at what you do. I promise I'll help you prove your worth to everyone." "Really?" I asked, surprised by his confidence. "Of course. I'll be right by your side. You just have to believe in yourself." I gave him a small smile, but worry still gnawed at me. "I have to figure things out fast. Money won't last long." Noah nodded. "How much do you have?" I pulled out the crumpled bills Mom had tossed at me. $300. "Wow, that sounds like a lot," he said, eyes wide. "But how long will it last, really?" I felt panic rising. "Not long. Rent, food, everything else. It'll disappear super fast." "What are you going to do?" Noah asked, clearly worried. "I don't know yet. I need a plan," I admitted, feeling lost. "What if I run out?" "Let's think about this," he said, leaning forward. "You could get a job, right? Maybe something in tech where your brain actually matters." "You think I can do that?" I asked, doubt creeping back in. "I know you can," he said with total confidence. "Start small. Just focus on one step at a time. We'll figure it out together." Noah's words made me feel a tiny bit stronger, but I knew time was against me. "I just want to feel safe again," I whispered, staring out the window. "You will," Noah promised. "We'll make sure of it." For the first time since leaving home, I felt a tiny spark of hope. But deep down, I knew the clock was ticking. School the next day was a blur. I tried to act normal in the hallways, but inside I felt like I was drowning. "Hey, Lena," Sarah called out. I forced a smile that felt like it might break my face. "Hi," I replied, trying to sound like everything was fine. After the last bell, I slipped into Mrs. Harper's classroom. She was my favorite teacher and the only adult who ever really got me. "Mrs. Harper," I said quietly from the doorway. She looked up from her desk. "Lena," her eyes widened when she saw my face. "What's wrong?" I don't know what to do," I said, tears threatening again. Her expression turned serious. "Come sit." I walked over to her desk and suddenly couldn't hold it in anymore. "I got kicked out and I don't know what to do. My mom doesn't care about me," I cried, my voice breaking. "Oh, sweetie," Mrs. Harper said gently. "I had no idea. Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I was scared. I thought I could handle it myself, I sobbed. "It's okay to ask for help," she said softly. "You know I've always believed in you. You're brilliant and you shouldn't have to face this alone." I sniffled, wiping tears away. "But how can I prove that to everyone else?" "I have an idea," she said, suddenly excited. "How would you like to be my lab assistant after school? It'll give you experience, plus I can recommend you for a paid tutoring position." My heart skipped. "Really? You think I could do that?" "Absolutely. You belong in the science world, Lena, she assured me. My chest swelled with gratitude. Thank you, Mrs. Harper, thank you so much. That night, I pulled out my journal and wrote. Day 1, I got kicked out, but I have hope I will become somebody. Later, I met Noah for dinner. He looked excited as he sat down. So, have you decided what you're going to do? He asked. I'm going to be Mrs. Harper's lab assistant. She even said I could tutor, I told him proudly. That's amazing, Lena, he exclaimed, but I think we need an even bigger plan. What do you mean? I asked, curious. Noah pulled out a flyer and showed it to me. There's a regional science competition coming up. The prize money is huge. My eyes went wide. I didn't know about that, but what could I possibly do? Use your science brain. Create something amazing. If you win, it'll help with money and prove to everyone how brilliant you are, he urged. But what if I fail? The doubt crept back in. You won't fail, Noah said firmly. You just have to believe in yourself like I do. I nodded slowly, feeling that spark of hope grow. Okay, I'll try. That night, my phone buzzed with a message from Dad. You've always been somebody to me. Tears filled my eyes as I read it over and over. Warmth spread through me. My dad believed in me. I realized I wasn't alone. I had people who cared. I could be somebody, and I would work hard to show the world. I smiled in the darkness, determination growing inside me. Tomorrow would be my first step forward. I woke up gasping the next morning, my heart racing from a nightmare. Mom had been there, cold and distant. You'll never be good enough, Lena. You're just a nobody, she'd said. I shivered, her words still echoing in my mind. Am I really? I whispered, my voice shaking. Tears slid down my cheeks as I stared at the ceiling. After a few minutes, I forced myself out of bed to get ready for school. Every step felt like walking through mud. On my way, I saw a familiar car drive past. My heart jumped into my throat. It was Mom. I froze, ducking behind a tree. I wasn't ready to face her, not yet. At lunch, Noah waved me over. Concern crossed his face when he saw me. Hey, you look rough, bad night. I nodded, not bothering to hide it. Nightmare about Mom, it still hurts. It's okay to be upset, he said gently. But what if you used that feeling for your competition project? I raised an eyebrow, interested. What do you mean? Focus on something powerful like sustainable energy. You've talked about it forever, and your mom always called it just a hobby. Let's show her how wrong she is. I felt excitement flicker to life. You really think I could do that? Absolutely. This is your chance to stand up for yourself and prove your worth. Plus, you could win. As we brainstormed ideas, Mrs. Harper walked by our table. What are you two plotting over here? She asked with a smile. Noah answered excitedly. We're planning Lena's project for the science competition. Mrs. Harper's eyes lit up. I'm so glad to hear that. Did you know the winner gets a college scholarship and media attention? My heart raced. Media attention, a scholarship. Yes, think about how far this could take you, she encouraged. I felt my doubts falling away, replaced by fire. This is it. This is my chance. After school, I called Dad, my fingers shaking with excitement. Hey, Lena, how's my girl doing? His warm voice made me smile. Dad, I'm entering the science competition. I'm going to work on sustainable energy, I told him. That's incredible. I'm so proud of you, he said, and I could hear he meant it. But what if I fail? I asked, the doubt creeping back in. Lena, listen. Your mom once challenged me too. She wanted me to be successful enough to impress her parents. But you are already good enough, no matter what. What happened between you two? I asked, curious. We fought a lot, but eventually I found my own path. Just like you will, Dad said sincerely. You have so much potential, and I believe in you completely. I took a deep breath, feeling his support wrap around me like a warm blanket. Thanks, Dad. That means a lot. I'm always here for you, even if I'm far away, he added. As we talked, I realized I wasn't just fighting for myself anymore. I was fighting for all the dreams I'd tucked away, for the person I wanted to become. I'm going to make this work, I said with determination. I know you will, Dad replied, and I could hear the pride in his voice. After hanging up, I looked out the window, imagining my project coming to life. I could be somebody. This was just the beginning. Days turned into weeks as Noah and I worked on our project. The school lab became our second home. Let's try again, Noah said one afternoon, adjusting a solar panel. We flipped the switch and nothing happened. I groaned, frustration boiling over. Why can't we get this right? Don't give up. We've made progress. Just think about the big picture, Noah reminded me, his eyes still hopeful. I know, but, I sighed, rubbing my temples. What if we fail after all this work? Failure is part of science. Remember what Mrs. Harper says. We can't give up, he encouraged. Mrs. Harper often stayed late to help us, becoming our guiding light. You two are doing amazing work, she told us one evening, looking over our sketches. Thanks for believing in us, I said, grateful beyond words. She leaned against a lab table, her expression turning serious. You know, I see a lot of myself in you, Lena. I faced family disapproval too when I pursued science. It wasn't easy, but I pushed through. Did it get better? I asked, curious. It did. I found my own path just like you will, she said confidently. But as we worked, new worries appeared. One night, Noah's parents sat us down at dinner. Lena, we need to talk, his mom said gently. You can't stay here indefinitely. My stomach dropped. I understand, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. We're grateful for all your help around the house, but we need our space back, his dad added kindly. Of course, I whispered, feeling the pressure build. My timeline was getting shorter by the day. That night, feeling lost, I dug through my backpack, hopping to find something to cheer me up. In a hidden pocket, I discovered some old science awards from elementary school. This is who I am, I whispered, touching the faded certificates. First place at the science fair, recognition for creativity, all the achievements Mom had dismissed. Pain squeezed my heart, but this time it fueled my determination. I was always talented, I thought fiercely. I can't let her make me forget that. The next night, with the competition just days away, I worked until 2 a.m. Noah had gone home, but I couldn't stop. The lab was dim, lit only by a flickering light. I flipped the switch on our prototype one more time. It sputtered but died. No, I shouted, panic rising. Not now. I scrambled to fix it, my mother's dismissive words echoing. You're nobody. No more, I yelled into the empty room. I will show you, I will show everyone. I tore into the wiring, recalibrating everything. Sweat dripped down my face as the hours ticked by. This was more than a project, it was my chance to prove my worth. Finally, with one last adjustment, I held my breath and flipped the switch again. The prototype hummed to life, lights flickering on as energy flowed through the circuit. Yes, I shouted, joy and disbelief flooding through me. It works. I collapsed onto the floor, tears of relief streaming down my face. I had done it. I was becoming somebody, just as I'd promised myself. But the competition was tomorrow, and I needed to stay focused. As I closed my eyes for just a moment, I knew this was only the beginning. The morning of the competition arrived with blinding sunlight through the window. My stomach twisted with nerves as I carefully packed our prototype. Today's the day, I whispered to myself in the mirror. No turning back now. Noah met me outside the school, bouncing with excitement, ready to blow their minds. I nodded, trying to match his confidence. As ready as I'll ever be. The competition hall buzzed with activity. Teenagers in formal clothes mingled around tables displaying all kinds of inventions. Judges in suits wandered through the crowd, clipboards in hand. Look at all these projects, I whispered to Noah, suddenly feeling small. None of them are as good as yours, he said firmly. Remember that. We set up our display, carefully arranging our prototype and poster. Efficient solar energy storage, powering communities, read our title. I straightened it 3 times, hands shaking. As the judges made their rounds, I scanned the audience entering the viewing area. My heart stopped. There, slipping into a seat near the back, was my mother. "Noah," I hissed, grabbing his arm. "My mom is here." His eyes widened. "What? How did she know?" "Mrs. Harper must have told her," I said, suddenly feeling dizzy. "What if I mess up in front of her?" "You won't," he said, squeezing my hand. "This is your chance to show her who you really are." When our turn came, I stepped forward, forcing myself to stand tall. "Hello, everyone. My name is Lena Thompson, and I'm presenting our innovative solar energy storage solution." As I explained the project, I could feel my mom watching. I pushed through the nerves. This device could help communities during power outages by storing energy more efficiently than current methods. The judges nodded, writing notes. This technology isn't just about saving energy, it's about providing hope to people in need. One judge raised his eyebrow. "How does your solution compare to existing technologies in terms of efficiency?" "Great question," I replied, feeling confidence grow with every word. "Our design increases efficiency by 20% compared to standard systems, which means more stored energy and less waste." The questions kept coming, and I answered each one, showing knowledge beyond what they expected from someone my age. Inside, I felt pride building. After what felt like forever, I finished my presentation. The judges exchanged glances, and I stepped back, hoping I'd done enough. "Thank you, Lena," the head judge said. "We'll announce the winners shortly." The wait was torture. I felt Mom's eyes on me but couldn't bring myself to look back at her. I focused instead on everything I'd accomplished, regardless of the outcome. Finally, a hush fell over the crowd. "And the winner of this year's regional science competition is..." The moment stretched forever. "Lena Thompson." "What?" I gasped, my heart nearly jumping out of my chest. Noah leaped up, cheering wildly. "You did it, Lena. You actually did it." In a daze, I walked to the stage. The head judge handed me a trophy and a check for $10,000. "Congratulations! You have an incredible future ahead of you in science." Camera flashes blinded me as reporters took pictures. This was real. This was happening. After the ceremony, I searched for Mom in the crowd, eager yet terrified to see her reaction. "Where are you?" I whispered, scanning the sea of faces. But she was gone. "She left," my voice cracked with disappointment. "After all that." Noah appeared at my side. "Are you okay? Did you find her?" "She's gone," I said, fighting back tears. "She didn't even wait to talk to me." "Maybe she needed time to process it," he suggested gently. "But I won. She should have been proud." I cried, anger and sadness mixing together. "This is about you, Lena, not her," Noah said firmly. "Look what you've accomplished." I nodded, but the victory felt hollow without her acknowledgement. I wanted to prove I'm somebody. "You did prove it, to everyone here, to me, and to yourself," Noah insisted. As people congratulated me, I held my trophy close, determined to remember this win. But deep down, I still wanted my mom to see who I truly was. That had been a week ago. Now I stood on Mom's doorstep, newspaper in hand, waiting for her response. "You won the science competition," she finally said, looking up from the paper. "Yes, the judges said my project could help a lot of people," I replied, watching her carefully. Mom handed the paper back, her face unreadable. "So you came back to show me you're somebody now." "I came back to tell you I never stopped being somebody," I said, my voice stronger than I expected. "I was always somebody worth believing in." She crossed her arms. "I only wanted what was best for you, Lena. The real world isn't kind to dreamers." "But you were wrong about science being just a dream. Look what I created. The prize money is enough to cover school expenses, and I've been offered an internship at the university research lab." Something flashed in her eyes, maybe pride, maybe regret. "I didn't think you could make a real career out of it." "That's the problem, Mom. You never asked what I wanted. You never really saw me," I said, the words pouring out. "These past weeks have been the hardest of my life, but I found people who believe in me for who I am." She was quiet for a long moment. I suppose I was wrong, she finally said, though the words seemed to cost her. You can come home now, we'll figure things out. I took a deep breath. This was the moment I'd been waiting for, but something had changed inside me. Actually, I'm not coming home, I said, surprised by my own certainty. Mrs. Harper helped me apply for an early admission science program in Canada. I got accepted yesterday. I'm going to live with Dad while I study. Mom's eyes widened. You're leaving just like that. It's what I need to do, I said gently. I've discovered who I am these past weeks. I can't go back to being someone I'm not. But, she started. I'll always be your daughter, I continued. And maybe someday we'll understand each other better, but right now I need to follow this path. She stood silent for a long moment, emotions crossing her face too quickly to read. Finally, she nodded stiffly. I see. It wasn't the warm reconciliation I'd once dreamed of, but it was a start. As I turned to leave, she called after me. Lena. I looked back. I'm proud of what you did with the science thing, she said awkwardly. You really are somebody. A small smile touched my lips. I always was, Mom. I just needed to believe it myself. As I walked away, I felt lighter somehow. Noah was waiting at the corner, grinning when he saw my face. How'd it go? He asked. Better than I expected, I said honestly. And worse in some ways, but I'm okay with that. He nodded, ready for your next big adventure. I looked up at the sky, feeling the endless possibilities stretching out before me. More than ready. For the first time since this all began, I wasn't afraid anymore. I knew exactly who I was and where I was going. I was somebody, not because I'd won a competition or proved my mom wrong, but because I'd finally found the courage to be myself. And that was the biggest victory of all.